starts going.
Okay. So yeah, when you get to the end of the hallway, there's no door or archway or anything. It's just a stairway. It just goes very steeply and very sharply and starts curving up to the right. This very tight spiral stair. And again, they look well maintained. The steps aren't rotted through. There's none missing. They're not in a bad state of repair.
Lux will stop circling and land on your shoulder as you walk by.
Do we have any indication about how far deep we are?
Not unless you have some class feature that allows you to determine that.
Nah, just cartographer or navigation, if anything, that helps.
I have Weaver's tools. Does that help?
No, they do not.
Curses.
Yeah, I'll follow, and then I'll follow Ginny.
Okay.
What about my drum proficiency? Does that help? Yeah, no, up the stairs. Like, so does the path stop at the stairs, or does it continue to
The
go?
path stops at the stairs. There's just a hole in the end of at the dead end that the stairs clamber up into. And I mean, you have to work to keep your shoulders from scraping against the wall as you work your way up the stairs. Very tight fit. In a fairly long stairway. At one point, it evens out onto a landing that goes forward about 20 or 30 feet. At this point, you have no idea what direction you're facing or traveling. And at the end of that little landing is another less aggressive staircase. And as you start climbing this one, the air gets a little bit warmer. And maybe 15 or 20 steps above you at that point, you reach a wooden ceiling.
All right, who got invited to dinner?
I guess we start knocking.
You knock on the
Ginny is whispering.
It's
Yeah.
very late. It's very late.
I think maybe this is the point where we head back, take careful notes, and try and work
Figure
out
out where we are.
Yeah, work out exactly where we are.
Instead of scaring the hell out of some poor person in the middle of the night, probably.
So it's a wooden ceiling. Is there any? I'm looking for any trapdoors or.
Oh yeah, when
Yeah,
you push
I'm gonna
the
help with
weight
trapdoors.
against it, you could feel how it would open up, but it's latched from the other side.
And okay, if it's latched from the other side, is it latched to the point where it won't? There's no give whatsoever, or is it is there any clearance? Is what I'm asking.
There's a little bit of give, but not so much that you're going to be able to open it without thieves' tools or without breaking the door.
Hey, I have thieves' tools.
I mean,
I think we all have thief tools.
Yeah, we all have thieves'
So,
tools.
are the boards like spaced enough where you can kind of see a little bit through them, or is it like a solid wood?
No, they're not.
That's what-
You can't
How
see
much
anything.
space is there on the first landing?
So the first landing, it's about a 20-foot long hallway joining the top of the first set of stairs to the bottom of the second set.
So,
Yeah, I got all the
there,
waiting back there.
Okay.
is there any way to jimmy the latch?
Yeah, you can make thieves' tools check. Dexterity thieves' tools.
Okay, I'm gonna try and undo the latch if I can.
Can I assist with this?
No, you cannot assist the thieves' tools check.
Well, that's not happening.
Yeah, the difficulty is, you're expecting, okay, it's somebody's basement trap door, but it's actually extremely well made. The difficulty is trying to get your tools up and around the base that the trap door is set into. Your only other option would be to try to destroy the door. If somebody had 30 gallons of acid, this would be the time to use it.
We left that in the last campaign.
Well, can someone else try their thieves' tools?
Yeah.
I think Jeannie and I both have it.
Evie's going to come forward and show Victor how it's done.
Well, I can try.
Yeah.
Evie, you are always my favorite cousin. Go ahead and take a Blessing of Air, and that's a plus 1d4 to a skill check.
Oh, thank you. You are also my favorite cousin who is a priest. Okay, so I'm adding a plus. I'm adding a plus 4 or a D4. Okay. Okay, rolling. That is 10 plus 12 plus these tools bonus is 5, so that is 17.
Your Thieves' Tool bonus is 5?
I believe so. I'm proficient with them.
Expertise?
I'm proficient with them, and I have.
And you have expertise.
3 decks.
Yeah, that would get you
I
there.
I don't have expertise in these tools. I have proficiency with them.
3 plus 2 is
plus
5.
3, yeah, 3
Yeah,
dex
okay.
Plus 2 is 5.
proficiency, yeah.
Yeah,
Math
it's just
actually works.
it's as difficult as Victor said it was. But you
can't do
managed
either.
to get the edge of your probe just underneath where the latch is. And then over the course of an excruciating minute or so, you managed to jimmy it upward and out. And now the door can push open.
I'm sure you loosened it for me, Victor.
It's because you have smaller hands.
Probably. So, who would like to... Now, I opened the door, but I'm not going to be the first person to go through. Someone else can do that.
Jeannie sticks her head up to the door.
Genie,
Yep.
you can see the room beyond. It's a basement room with a wooden floor with this where the trapdoor had been set. And what hits you first is the smell of old musty books. And you realize that you're poking your head up between 2 stacks. Just these floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. I say ceiling, but it's a cramped little space. No taller than 10 feet or so. Just an extensive archive of some kind.
Jeannie lets out a squeal and says, Victor,
What'd you find? What'd you find? Victor will
Books.
try and like poke us out. Books. What?
In a few moments after you let out a squeal, you hear a door open somewhere above and off to your left,
Damn it, Genie.
and light from a candle spills into the room.
Jeannie pulls the door down. Is she quick enough to pull the...
Yeah, you can pull the door closed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if she
Victor will
hears
try and
something
listen.
coming?
You pull it closed. Is everybody being very quiet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ekon's not moving.
Yeah.
Holding the breath and listening hard.
Let's get an active perception check from everybody.
Hey, that's a good roll. That's a 20.
20.
30, 20. Yeah, 20.
Mine was
17.
only 8.
Those of
22.
Those of you who beat a 12, as you're sitting there being very, very quiet, listening intently, you hear footfalls on the floor above you. Then you hear a woman's voice whispering just on the other side of the door. Christen? Christen?
Is
Then
that
you
the-
hear the latch being placed back, and the footfalls start to move away from the door.
Does it sound like a voice that we know?
No. I mean, it's difficult to say. You could identify it as a woman's voice. That's it.
But it wasn't one of like our family members where we opened the door into another part of the house that we own.
No, definitely not, because you did not bring this many books with you. You're...
Isn't Chrism the name of the man we got the house from?
You got the house from Durbus Blacken.
Okay.
So at this point, my suggestion is we go back out, and then tomorrow we try and find out who Christen is and figure out where we just were.
That sounds like a better idea than just blindly poking into probably someone's house where we don't know who they are, they don't know who we are. They're
Yeah,
expecting someone else. We don't know what they're going to do when we're not christened.
Or their
Yeah.
secret underground library.
Yeah, what we did was, probably a crime. You guys.
It depends on whether or not it's filled with occult unsale knowledge.
I mean, there's books there, and we do have an obligation to spread knowledge. But I'm thinking we should be a little smart about this.
Look, the important thing is that no one can prove it was us.
So what's next?
Victor is
think
going to
we
start
return.
turning out.
Yeah, it sounds like all of us are heading back out.
Okay.
Jeannie will reluctantly follow.
So you head back down the tight spiral stairs, and then back through the caves. You come to the chimney where Jeannie's rope is still dangling. You climb up the rope.
Before we head up the rope, Ekon's going to grab one of the bedrolls and stuff it into Ginny's bag of holding.
Yeah, sure.
Why?
Let's get a better look at this once we have some better light.
I mean, it's just a straw bedroll.
Oh, okay. There's not like a blanket.
There's a linen thrown over it.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to see if we can figure anything out from the weave or anything that might be any marks on it.
Okay.
Somebody does have weaver's tools, don't they?
That sounds
I do.
like that kind of work should be done by a detective, I think.
I got to investigate.
Sorry, we're adventure. Sorry, I'm an Aethar. not a detective.
So you take.
We're
Raven's
adventurers now. We're not
bedrolls.
we're not investigators.
And like I said, when you examine this bedroll, like it's not sodden, it's not in a state of rot, but you can't tell how recently it's been used.
Is there any sort of pattern on the blankets? Like
No.
anything that might be noteworthy? Okay.
Okay.
Common rough linens. You roll it up, stuff it in Jeannie's bag, and you come back up into the rabbit dungeon.
Hold on, before we go any further, we need to come to a consensus. We don't want to tell Ruby about the rabbits, but do we want to tell her about this place we found?
No.
Yes, we want to tell her that she shouldn't
Yeah.
come down here.
I feel like if we hide this from her, she's like, I don't think she has the authority to ground us, but she's gonna try.
All right. So here's what
Have
we
you ever met any members of our family? Any one of them is going to come down here when they know that this exists.
Right.
Yeah.
We're gonna tell Ruby that while I was out looking at the perimeter, I noticed that there was, a hole, and so we dug it up, and then we came down here, and this is what we found. We're not going to mention the rabbits. We're not going to mention Tenny. We're just going to tell her that during a routine investigation of the area.
Yeah, we were scouting the foundation.
Speaking of the rabbits and the all this stuff over here,
Mhm.
I just put it all in my bag of holding.
I've had the rabbits on my pack. Do you want them? I was gonna have my familiar drop them into the lake.
I mean, it's best that they're out of sight for now. Just
Sure.
they're in the bag of holding now.
Just the grossest bag of holding.
I
I don't think
make
Jeannie sees
sure to
the
grab
clear.
the rope in the pitting from the hole
Mhm.
on the way out.
Yeah, I collect my rope,
Okay.
my pitten.
You guys climb back up, and by the time you do, it's maybe an hour or so before dawn. And when you come out, it's noticeable that this hole has been widened. Like you guys had to widen the hole before you went down. Like it'll definitely be noticed tomorrow, so you should
Yeah.
have some kind of story ready.
Maybe we should put a cushion over it.
Well, no, we were just doing our last check of the day before we went to sleep. We made a note of it, and then we got curious.
All right, I'm going to step away for 2 minutes. We're going to refresh my drink, and we'll come back and we'll see how much trouble you guys are in with Ruby.
Yep.
Guess I'll grab a drink too.
Well, beans.
All right, so who's going to run and tell Ruby?
Are we gonna tell her right now? Do we need to wake her up for this?
No, I think we'll tell her tomorrow.
Okay.
Maybe tell her in the morning.
Yeah.
So the next morning, who breaks the news to... Well, I'll ask you this. Do you do anything regarding Tenny the next morning?
I mean,
So, since Victor was not there during this whole ordeal, Victor will do his usual thing if he's going to invite Tenny on a walk to go see the gardens, and if any of the other kids want to come along, they can. And so he
She
can
doesn't
talk
want to
Tenny.
go this morning. All she wants to do this morning is... she wants to find Evie and Jeannie.
I mean, Jeannie will grab Edmont. She'll borrow Edmont. Edmont, please come with me. And then
What?
she'll point at Edmont's leg and say, "The rabbits tried to eat Edmont. I'm sorry."
So you come clean with her.
Yeah,
We had to slay your rabbits.
we had to slay your rabbits because they tried to eat Edmont.
Victor is going to try and act completely shocked.
Okay. And she's inconsolable, and she runs back into the neighbor's house where she's been staying. It disappears up into her room and refuses to come down for breakfast.
I don't think there was a really good way around that.
Yeah.
And when you guys go to take breakfasts at the manor, half of the breakfast hall is still under construction. Ruby wants to know what it's all about because one of the servants saw Tenny, inconsolable, running back up to her room. Elisabetta has been sent to try to coax her out. So what do you tell Ruby?
I mean, the story is that she's been upset ever since we left South Warren, right?
Oh, yeah, that's not a secret to anybody, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just more of that.
Seems like more of that.
But we found. I think we should just try and pivot the conversation away from
Yeah.
Penny.
Yeah,
to
more
the-
We
importantly,
have a more important thing to show you.
Victor will sort of break in as they're talking about Tenny and go, "Oh, by the way, so we found something interesting last night.
Okay.
When we were looking out, checking on how the security progress is going, we noticed that there was an unusual opening in one of the walls. And so it looks like it might be big enough for someone to fit through, so we tried it, and then we had Ekon break it up, and I kind of describe in general, so we went down there, and it looks like underneath us is a very large structural tunnel, and it looks like there's some sort of storage rooms below that. So,
You see Nigel at his breakfast, his eyes perk up and his mustache becomes bouncier.
Exactly, Nigel. It's just the kind of place you would like.
Well, I would think that this crevice underneath the house needs to be properly surveyed.
Oh, we agree.
I completely
We
agree.
did a preliminary investigation of it down there last night.
Then we came back to report our findings this morning.
Yes, we've done just a cursory look. We definitely agree that with your expertise, we should send a couple people down there to fully investigate and see if we can find out what it was being used for.
To which Ruby steps in and says, under no circumstances is the Speaker of South Warren going to be crawling into a hole underneath his house.
Oh, well,
Oh, Ruby, he's not even 60.
Nigel squares his shoulders back. Well, I suppose it wouldn't be proper. I can leave
at
the
any
task
rate,
to
my
you then.
understanding is the regular thing to do about this is to announce it to the authority, and then we can get proper property rights to it, and we can explore it all we want.
I mean, provided it doesn't go off of the grounds that have been.
I don't know if that
artificial.
actually matters. I think if it starts on our land, it probably is all ours.
It does not appear on the charts that we were given, correct?
Correct.
What was the name that Chrism?
The name you heard whispered?
Yeah.
Chrisen.
Chrisen. Does the and Ruby? I'll ask Ruby. Have you heard the name Chrisen mentioned around town?
It's not a name that she knows.
I think
And
the
she
only
knows
person who might
everybody
know-
worth knowing.
Speaking of weird, have we met our neighbors yet?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Maybe
Are we friendly with our neighbors?
That's up to you.
I'd like to think we're a fairly friendly bunch of people.
I can start drawing up the paperwork for the acknowledgement of that being part of our property today.
I mean, we do want to make sure we go about this in the right, proper legal ways. So if we need to take that before we go send an expedition down there,
I'll try to mollify Ruby and say, look, Victor is very experienced at these kinds of expeditions. He'll help. He, Jeannie, and I will handle this. All right? Father doesn't need to get involved. You don't need to get involved. We'll take care of it.
And Nigel, he seems glad that the whole expedition is in good hands. But you can definitely tell he wishes that he and his mustache were climbing down that hole.
Oh, I wish she was as well. I don't know that Evie has ever been on an expedition with her father. Probably not.
Nigel's probably like a level epic level fighter or something. It'd be great to have.
Does Ruby vocalize any objections to us checking it out?
And filing paperwork.
No, this seems like you have it all well in hand.
All right, excellent. We got it under control.
All right.
Well, in any case, I have some animals to tend to.
So Victor is going to try and find Tenny.
Oh,
And
she's
see-
not hard to find. I mean, she's in her room at the neighbor's house across the way.
Since he was not involved in the finding of these rabbits or their slaying, wink wink, he's going to try and console Tenny.
Make a deception check.
I think I killed 2 of the 3. Did Victor actually kill one?
All 5 of you killed the rabbits. You all went
Okay.
down there. Victor didn't try to stop it.
We're accomplices.
You were all guilty in the eyes of this 10-year-old girl.
I mean,
I
The
know.
air
they
killed
were
Cyris
coming,
rabbits.
they were coming right for us.
So, I mean, you reach some level of understanding. Like, there is a part of her that understands, like, these things are going to be monsters. They tried to eat Cousin Edmont. But they're also the only friends she's made since she's left South Warren.
Those were not good friends.
I will ask her if there's anything I can do to help her make new friends. Like, does she want to go anywhere? Does she want to have play dates with anybody? Does she want to meet anybody?
Well, she doesn't want to go on a walk with you today, that's for sure.
So, like, Eugenia feels kind of bad because she did make the promise and broke it spectacularly because, well, I mean, you know, we can't have somebody lose a character in the first real adventure, the first minor adventure of a campaign, 2 campaigns in a row.
Why not?
Listen, we've got a reputation.
Okay.
It's not a good reputation, but it's a reputation. Anyway,
Rabbits didn't have any touch spells.
Yeah, no, but he like ate
That we
half
know
of my
of.
hit points. He ate half of my fucking hit points there.
but like Eugenia is like going to get up and leave, and she's going to go. She's going to look for a pet shop in the city.
She already has pets. She's probably got
Yeah,
dogs.
she's got dogs,
And
she's
cats.
got-
I mean,
Kitty
are you
all
looking
over.
for, like, an exotic animal? Like, looking
Yes.
for somebody who breeds rabbits?
Yes.
You can certainly find somebody who breeds rabbits for eating.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's go around the table and get some morning actions then. So Jeannie is going to go find a rabbit breeder.
Like normal rabbits that eat plants.
Define normal.
They eat plants, not people.
What is Edmont doing this morning?
Tending to his responsibilities, animals and such.
So today that they're beginning construction on the stables. Part of the foundation of the kennel house had to be ripped up, and Jeannie tore some more bricks from the foundation away last night because she found a mysterious hole.
Yeah, so
If Jeannie is like semi in charge of this, she would have left instructions to kind of also, if possible, shore up the entrance that we uncovered.
No,
Like
there's
maybe
nothing to
break.
really be done on
Yeah.
that count.
Okay, I just like didn't want like the foundation to collapse.
We might
No,
have
there's
to add a
nothing
door.
in danger of collapsing. What is Victor doing this morning? Oh, you went to speak with...
a little girl.
Yeah, he went to talk to Tenny and try to console her, and then after that, he's going to go try and talk to the neighbors and see if anybody knows somebody named Christum.
And what about Evie?
Evie is going to do whatever Ruby tells her to do.
Oh,
What
which is
needs
what?
doing? Well, what needs to be done at the manor?
All kinds of stuff needs to be done. This is one of those situations where the DM's not making this decision for you.
That's how this
I'm-
works, homie.
I mean, Evie is not probably very good at construction.
Probably not. Suffice it to say.
Like Eugenia could just hand you the plans and say, "Supervise. I'm going to find a rabbit."
Okay, Evie supervises. Then she can tell
There's-
people what to do.
There's roof work has to be done. We got to make sure the walls are reinforced and repaired. We got to make sure the doors are on there.
And Ekon, you are going to get these, like, get the paperwork filed, so to speak.
Yeah, if I could borrow the services of my brother's scribe for the morning.
That's up to your brother.
Certainly.
Yeah, I'll go
So-
through and actually follow whatever official procedure needs to be for when you find one of these catacombs under your property.
One of the first initial steps is you would hire a surveyor, somebody whose job it is to kind of map out the tunnels and see where they end.
Hey, that's us! What do I have to do to get us officially recognized as surveyors?
Well, if you're going to do that, then you're spending your morning doing something else.
Okay.
Like what you want to find out if you can get, like you personally or
The house.
Okay.
To see if whatever we need. So we need some sort of official surveyors to do this sort of work. I want to see what it requires to get our house on the list of people who are allowed to do that.
So there would be a guild hall of surveyors, of people who do exactly that kind of work, and probably lots of different branches. You would essentially be putting somebody's name forth to be the head of what is essentially this new business. Is that a role you're taking upon yourself?
Is there someone else who makes more sense within the household, or is that me?
Probably
Nigel?
Victor.
Nigel?
Well, Nigel.
Can you put-
Nigel could do it.
Could you just put Nigel's name down?
My vote would be for Victor.
I mean, Victor's
Yeah,
got.
let's put Victor's name down.
Okay.
As long as he's okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got cartography and navigation and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, so he's doing what he needs to make sure that whatever official surveying of this property needs to happen for it to be filed away can be put on our house.
Okay.
So it sounds like that's registering Victor as the head of the house with the Surveyors Guild.
And this is a task that is made relatively easy for you because it just so happens that Speaker Nigel, one of his friends, is the high tradesman in the city. So you find yourself very welcome in any guild halls. People are looking to ingratiate themselves with you as new arrivals, as the new speaker arriving in Brennanine. It's no problem worrying about fees or anything. You might get the stank eye from other people who are already in line to get this kind of licensing done, who you're jumping in front of.
Sure.
We'll say this can happen in a matter of days.
Okay.
And then in the meantime, any surveying work that you guys do down in these tunnels, later on you could just smooth it over and say that you got the licensing done first, and nobody will ask twice.
Yep. So that sounds like that's my day.
All right. Jeannie.
Yep.
You're just going to go buy some baby rabbits?
Yes.
Do you need to know how to... I mean, I'm assuming your servant knows how to skin them and cook them properly, dress them for dinner.
I'm gonna buy baby rabbits and a little cage
Okay.
and like a little hutch. And then I'm going to try and smooth things over with Tenny.
When you get back home with this little cage of rabbits, baby rabbits, Tenny pouts about how that these are Brennanine rabbits and not from South Warren.
I'm not sure that these are from Brennanine.
They definitely are. That's where you got them.
You got me there. Okay. I walked into that. I was gonna say I'm not sure if they're like where these rabbits are originally from, but yeah, okay, fine, fair.
They're baby rabbits. They're from Brennanine.
I already know what I'm voting for the intangibles blip for today.
Tommy, are you leaving the baby rabbits with Tenny? She says she'll take care of them if you're asking her to.
No, Tenny, I'm not asking you to. I'm trying to, I did not want to kill your friends. Okay.
Well, then you shouldn't have.
They tried to eat our cousin. Tenny, they could have eaten you.
She doesn't have an answer for that, but she tells you that they liked her fine. And if you hadn't come around and stuck your big nose in like you always do, everything would have been perfectly fine and nobody would have gotten hurt.
Ginny puts her hand on her nose and starts feeling it. Like, it's just kind of... You ain't got to be hurtful.
It's Cousin Edmond's own fault that he got bit. He was probably trying to hit them.
They
I mean,
tried to
she's not
bite
wrong
me,
about
too.
that.
Yes, she's definitely not wrong about that.
I mean, at this point, she's going back and forth between being inconsolably sad and just the biggest brat on the planet. You're not going to be able to reason with this 10-year-old.
Right, no, I'm not trying to reason with a 10-year-old. I'm trying to make her feel better.
She'll take care of your baby rabbits if you ask her to, she says.
Okay, please take care of these baby rabbits for me.
Okay.
I appreciate it. I owe you a favor.
Takes the cage back into her bedroom. And then an hour later or so, you find her taking it back outside of the house because the people who own the house don't want rabbits in the house.
Huh?
So she's going to find somewhere on the manor plot where she can house these baby rabbits. Probably in in the stables, most like.
Yeah.
That are going up today.
All right, so that's done. That minor setback is done.
So Ekon tells Victor that he's essentially licensed in town to do surveyor's work. Most of this task would have you, if you were to pursue this as like a job, would have you leaving Brennanine and going out into the lands of field where a lot of these families own lands, just kind of educating border disputes and things. So-and-so built a fence and it wasn't on the line. Where's the line? Your job is to go out and find the actual line. That's mostly what the job entails. It's up to you how much you want to actually pursue it.
Well, I would be more than happy to resolve disputes with our non-friendly houses.
Give me, over the course of the next day or so, as you're working on trying to find the boundaries of this tunnel system, give me an intelligence navigator's tools check.
Wish I had guidance.
I have guidance. Can I help him with this?
Yeah, you sure can.
So add a D4. Can I actually aid another on this? I'm not trained.
Yeah, you can aid him if you want. The two of you.
Yeah.
can
So
work
go
on
ahead
these.
and roll an advantage and add a D4. We'll do this one together.
That'd be a 15, 16, 17 on one and a 10 on the other.
All right, so 17. So in general, the basement area you found at the edge of the tunnel that opens up next to your kennel, where you found the two sarcophagi, that would have been located about across the street here. As long as no section of that opens up into somebody else's property. I just deleted it. That was wrong. In fact, let me get a different color. This color sucks. How about green? Looking at something like this. As long as no part of it opens up into somebody else's property, and as long as nobody in that area can show that it's in active use, as far as the Holy City is concerned, it's your property. It's connected to a tunnel that opens up into one of your buildings. You can do with it what you want.
So what about the underwater staircase and all that? Can I figure out about where that opens up?
That would be much lower, and it takes the two of you working together most of the part of the day. Because that had a long tunnel going off to the side, and then a long stairway up, and then another tunnel, and it goes across the street here, and it looks as though the basement you opened up into with all the books would be a block away down here. And when you check on Marsh Street, there is, in fact, a bookseller's shop right at that location. So it's very easy to triangulate. Now, here's the legal complication would be that they would have a claim to the tunnels because they have a trapdoor that opens up into that basement area that they could probably say has been in recent use. So if you're going to have a dispute with anyone, you would have a dispute with this bookseller.
So I'm thinking one of the things that we may want to do is clean out all of the sleeping bags and the bedrolls and all the other stuff that maybe had evidence that people were using that.
I mean, Ekon's gonna suggest going into the bookseller and just talk them up, see what they're selling.
Yeah, we're definitely going to want to talk to the bookseller. But if there's a possibility of a dispute, if we get rid of the evidence that says it was in recent use, that'll make our life a lot easier.
Well, you have to find some way to disconnect the tunnel from their basement.
Oh.
They would say, yeah, the tunnel connects. We have this trap. We have a trap door that we know about and latch from our side. Theirs connected by a hole they didn't even know existed.
So I don't think we want to destroy the tunnel, because if we ever need to, I don't know, burn the city down because one of us can't play with fire the right way, it might be nice to have an escape route.
Can I check the city records to see if the tunnel is currently listed as being the property of that bookseller?
That would have been part of your task as getting Victor licensed, and as far as anybody knows, these tunnels are completely unknown.
Okay.
Sounds like we need to talk to presumably the woman who owns this bookstore.
Yeah, so Victor will grab Evie when she's available.
Oh yeah, Evie's around. She's probably she's trying to help at the manor, but I don't know if she's necessarily accomplishing much.
So I think Victor will
kind of work.
Victor is going to explain to Evie the situation. We need to go talk to the bookseller to find out, just take a look around, see what kind of shop they have, what kind of books they have. Are they friendly? Maybe we can take a look inside, and if they let us in the basement, we can ask about the trapdoor then. We may not want to necessarily say, hey, we know you have a trapdoor in your basement.
That seems like a red flag.
Okay, so who all is going to go to the booksellers?
I'll go.
I think you low charisma people may not want to come.
Just Victor and Evie?
I mean, Evie has good charisma, but that does not necessarily mean that I will do well.
Yeah, I'll go to you, even though I'm one of those low charisma people. I'm really good at reading people.
Okay, what will Edmont and Jeannie do the afternoon where they're going to this bookseller?
Jeannie is back to working on the grounds.
Presumably being
provided Edmont isn't needed to supervise the construction of the stables, then he will absolutely go to the bookseller as well.
Okay, so everybody but Jeannie is going to the bookseller.
And Victor is not going there just for this, but also he goes, there's a bookseller. We have a big manor. We need some books.
Yeah.
And as soon as you guys enter the shop, Victor, that enthusiasm dies, because this is not a very well maintained or organized shop. Most of the books are very just low value, just like very common histories or novellas, books of poetry. You find a wide variety of stuff, but all things that are very common. So it's the same sensation as like finding another bookseller in Skyrim who has all the same books as every other bookseller in Skyrim.
Are we able to go look at the books down in the basement?
So the proprietress of the shop is a woman named Miriam. And Miriam has two qualities that you note right away. The first is that she wears this just giant pair of glasses that looks like the whole top of her face is just magnified. And the second is that she's always seems very distracted. She has a lot of difficulty holding a conversation for more than a few moments before something else catches her attention and she's off on some tangent. Having met this woman inside of 5 or 10 minutes, you already know just a bunch of scattered details about her life. her basic outlook is that she definitely prioritizes just the collection, the quantity of books, over actually curating any kind of library out of them. She doesn't even seem to know the value of most of what she has, basing it entirely on mostly the condition it's in rather than the actual work. The basement is not open to the public. It's not a part of the shop. That's where she has some of her private collection that she loans out, or sometimes she'll accept books on consignment from other parties. But she has no question at all that House Veritas will be very good friends of hers. She's been in the neighborhood for many, many years. Lord Blacken was a friend, even though he didn't read that much. So she's not taking you down there today, but she's definitely looking to ingratiate herself with House Veritas in some fashion.
I'm assuming we brought some books with us. Do we have any books that are common that she doesn't seem to have? Or that might be interested in?
If you want to broker a trade, and she will buy anything that you bring her. Anything. And if she doesn't have the money to pay you up front, she will go into debt to acquire those books.
All right, so Victor will offer to do one of her consignment deals where he will bring her a book if she lets him go browse through the downstairs private collections.
And she's happy to make that appointment, but not today.
Is there anyone else who works in the bookstore with her, or is it just her?
No, she owns the building and operates the bookshop, but after speaking with her for a little while and kind of going through her stacks, you're not sure how much business she actually does. It looks like she's more a hoarder than...
So in conversations with her, does she mention Christum to somebody?
No, she does not mention Kristen at all. And you can't even be certain that this is the woman whose voice you heard, because you only heard a whisper the other night.
Does she seem to have any family, or is it just kind of her by herself in the bookstore?
She does. She tells you about family that she has in some of the surrounding lands. She's not particularly old either. She can't be older than 30 or so. But she lives alone here in the shop. And she gives no indication that she knows anything about a tunnel opening up into her basement.
Okay. So I will set an appointment for the earliest date that she'll take one.
So you're going to bring her some stuff to sell on consignment?
Yeah, I always book the trade. Do like, I'll trade you this book if you can go with me, find something downstairs, take a look around.
Okay. Is anybody else doing anything with Miriam while you're here?
There's like the collection doesn't have anything that doesn't seem really basic. There's no interesting books here that we can see.
You would have to spend some time going through the stacks.
Well, Victor is speaking with her, so I think Evie is probably browsing.
Yeah, make an investigation check.
That is not a great roll for me, but I'll try.
Okay. Yeah, anybody who wants to spend some time just going through the stacks can make this check. The problem is there's no seemingly
I actually roll an
organization method to these books.
Well, I rolled a 20, but I have a -1 to investigation, so it's a 19.
Okay.
I did not roll that high.
Okay. I'll say if you do a 15 or better, you can find a handful of books on pretty much any subject of interest you care to name. There's all kinds of... it's obvious that this collection came to her through the years, and she's been adding to it ever since. And there's just no rhyme or reason to what she'll take and put into the collection.
I'll give that a try. Yeah, it's a 15.
A 15?
Is it? Yeah.
And you're trained in religion, yes?
Yep.
Make a religion check, please.
Should I just use the same roll, or should I roll again?
No, roll again.
Okay. That's a religion of worse. 10.
You come across a book written in Old Etherine. Well, you speak that, don't you?
Yep.
The old language. It's entitled The Green Book of Cassius. The book itself is bound in nondescript, just brown leather, but it's called The Green Book of Cassius. And What strikes you about it is that it's in a very good condition for a book written in Old Etherine. That's it. That's all you get with a 10.
Could I buy it?
When you bring the book to her, she snatches it out from your hand and insists that it's not for sale, and she's very apologetic. It's a very old and very rare book. Also, she tells you that, but it's clearly not a very old book at all.
Yeah, can I do insight on that? Or it sounds like I don't need to.
You can tell. She tells you it's a very rare, very old book, but you can tell this book is not old.
Could I do an insight to try and figure out why she's lying, or like what specific part of that, like why she's so guarded about this?
How are you going to try to find that out? You'd have to ask some probing questions.
Yeah, so I'll just ask her. I mean, I recognize that the language should be quite old, but it looks like it was bound within the last century. That's really rare for something in Old Etherine. That is outside the purview of the church.
She tells you that that you're mistaken, and then she tries to pull rank on you a little bit. She tells you that she's served as a librarian and curator of this collection for many years and has worked closely with the binding and refurbishing of books for a very, very long time, since she was a little girl. She's clearly lying to you. This book is not old. But she's trying to tell you that I know more about how books are bound together and how to refurbish them than you do. You're just wrong about this. You're wrong about how it works.
Victor will put a hand on Ekon's shoulder. Ekon, you're the one talking to her, right?
Yeah.
So he'll put a hand on Ekon's shoulder and say, it's okay, it's okay. So would it be possible for us to look at that book here in the store, or could we possibly exchange it on a loan basis? So we don't actually buy it, but we just take it back and read it in exchange for one of our books?
Well, she says that it's written in Old Etherine, so you wouldn't be able to read it anyway.
Do you read Old Etherine?
She does. Well, she claims she does.
I actually will use my last language left Old Etherine.
Okay. So Old Etherine, that's akin to reading Latin. You're not going to find people who speak this, but it's what
Victor,
people
you just
400 or 500 years ago would have written books in, especially books.
Victor, you just totally signed yourself up for going with Ekon when he is very excited to the once a month service they do in Old Etherine.
Oh God. Oh, he was like, "Oh yes, I do." And then so is the title in Old Etherine on the book?
Yeah, and it's the Green Book of Cassius.
Okay, so then he will pronounce the title in Old Etherine, or what the approximation of we think Old Etherine sounds like when spoken.
So she tells you there's probably no harm in taking it up to a lectern, but it's because it's so old and it's in such a bad state of repair, it would be she couldn't leave you alone with it, and she couldn't allow you to borrow it. And as she's explaining this, you find her more and more tripping and stammering over her own words.
I explained to her that's perfectly understandable. We would be more than happy to read it within the premises of your shop. We would be more than happy to let you place it on the lectern for us so that we don't risk damaging it while we carry it over there.
And what are Evie and Edmont doing at this while they're taking this?
Watching this exchange with bemusement at this point, because Edmont has not found anything of interest to him.
Okay. So she does. She takes them into an upstairs. It's a second floor, but it has an open floor plan to it. So it's essentially this hallway that wraps around the second floor of the building. Off to one side would be her living quarters, but you can just look over the railing down into the main stacks.
Victor makes sure to compliment her on the care she's taken of this book and kind of reinforce the lies that she's been telling. I don't know if he knows she was lying or not, but
it's very obvious she is. Yes. So yeah,
yes. You've done a wonderful job binding this book. Your skills are absolutely amazing.
There are small areas, tables, and lecterns upstairs in between the stacks, and she has to clear some space out. Perusing the book, it seems to be an old book of fables, the travels and travails of an ancient hero named Cassius. That doesn't sound very familiar to either of you, but I'll allow you each to make a history check.
It's a 13.
actually
That's
trained in history.
22.
22. Cassius is a mythological hero. There's no historical record that this person ever existed, but the myth of Cassius is that he served the Etherine Church as a paladin for his entire life, but towards the end, he was tempted away from the church by unseelie creatures of the woods, and in giving into those temptations, lost his family, his house, all of his divine powers, all of his wealth, and eventually his life. It's a cautionary myth. The book you're reading, though, is a contemporary retelling of that story. It would be the equivalent of like somebody today writing Iliad fan fiction in Latin.
How different are the events?
I mean, there's always variation in myth, but this is almost a parody retelling of it.
Is there any way to tell?
It's possible it's meant to be a tragedy. It's also possible it's meant to be like darkly comedic.
Is there any way to tell this is a book that she wrote?
Probably not, but there's no way to tell without asking her.
So if she's still around, I'll ask her, a little bit of history about the book. Where did she get it? How long has she has it? What's her favorite part of it?
And she tells you that she hasn't read it. She tells you she got it as part of a collection from an estate sale that she hasn't all completely sorted through yet, and that's why she doesn't want to sell any parts of the estate until she's sorted through and knows exactly what's there. And what's your guys' passive insight, the two of you?
You're looking for a 15.
12.
Yeah, Ekon, you can see right through her.
Ekon immediately wants to know more about the estate and who died and what their whole life story is.
You're dressed as an Aethar, yes?
Oh yeah, he's got full armor, insignia everywhere, vestments, yeah.
Evie and Edmont, are you still downstairs at this time?
Yeah, but Edmund is still paying attention to this and just kind of listening up to the conversation.
Okay.
So they have Miriam distracted.
Oh yeah.
Oh. I'm tempted to go look for the basement, but I don't think that's a good idea.
Do it.
Do it.
When was anything a bad idea? Let's be honest.
D&D is
like the
all
perfect
about.
time to do it.
Yeah, D&D is about
All right.
playing out your inner battle.
Evie's gonna look like she's just casually browsing, but she's actually looking for a way to the basement.
So you do find doors on either side of the bottom floor of the shop, and kind of opening up into one of them, there's a quick clatter as inside a broom falls over as you've opened up into a closet.
Mm-hmm.
On the
Evie
opposite-
3 stumps means cheese it.
On the opposite side of the building, another door opens into a set of wooden stairs going down. And
Evie 3 stomps means cheese it.
Okay, I'm going down.
okay, and when you go down, yeah, you see the room that Jeannie poked her head into before, the stacks of even more disorganized than the shop above, hundreds and hundreds of books.
Okay.
It's kind of piled up on bookcases, some just piled up in stacks on the floor.
Is it dark?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I can't really look or read any of the titles then.
No, in fact, if you were to go down these stairs into the room, it'd be difficult to navigate around.
Okay.
You'd probably
I'm not.
walk into
okay.
a shelf and knock it over.
Okay, I don't want to risk something like that, so I'll just back out.
Okay. Meanwhile, upstairs, you're trying to get like the complete history of this book.
Yeah, of the person whose estate it was.
I mean,
Victor asked if she'd like for us to read the book to her so she knows what it says.
Evie, everybody that didn't have a torch, so I gave them a 5-foot glowing rock. So
That
unless
was
you got
last
rid of,
night.
yeah, it lasts indefinitely.
Oh.
It's basically a candle.
Yeah, it's basically just a candle.
She answers your questions as to who the estate was, but not really to your satisfaction.
Okay.
And you do catch her once or twice doubling back over her story about like how much the lot was, or why was it being auctioned, who else. Like when you get her down into the little details, you're able to catch her in inconsistencies. She definitely did not get this book out of an estate sale like she told you. And the more you talk, the more nervous she gets, until eventually she reaches forward to grab the book up off the lectern.
I won't stop her.
So yeah,
I asked if she'd like us to read the book to her. Like, would you like us to do a reading for you?
oh no, that won't be necessary. But I thank you very much, and I apologize for my abruptness. But I do have business to attend to elsewhere in the city. I'll have to close my shop for a couple of hours. If we could reconvene tomorrow for our appointments, I'd be happy to discuss the loan arrangement that we had.
That would be absolutely wonderful.
And then she begins ushering you all outside of her shop.
I won't fight her.
Victor will leave with a bright smile and we'll be happy to see you again tomorrow. And I'll ask her, are there any special topics that you have an interest in learning about that you haven't read yet? Maybe we can find a book on that.
And she gives some
Just kind of trying to fuse
vague
the situation.
responses. Yeah, she's
Okay.
clearly looking to get you all out of the shop as quickly as possible while she retains possession of the book.
And as soon as that door shuts, I turn to Ekon and say, someone needs to stay here and watch.
And Lux takes off from the tower and flies over and starts circling the bookshop.
Is he going to watch the book
Ekon
shop?
nods. What?
Evie says it's definitely the same place as last night.
Yeah, she was definitely lying about pretty much everything she said.
Oh, obviously. I don't think she's told. I'm not even sure Miriam is her real name. I was out at this point.
I'm hoping we're out of earshot from the bookstore at this point.
Yeah, you're walking down the street at this point.
Yeah.
So,
So we're all thinking cultists, right?
There's
Maybe.
something weird going on here.
where the bookstore is located, is there enough stuff to easily hide to kind of spy in person without having to use a familiar?
We have familiars. We can use the familiars for that purpose.
There are alleyways you could duck between buildings. I mean, you wouldn't want anything long term would catch notice eventually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
We live in the neighborhood. Us being here isn't necessarily weird.
And a lot of the activity in the neighborhood right now are people coming and going because of the construction going on your grounds.
Yeah, I'm gonna have my hawk familiar start circling the shop.
Okay.
Daedalus can also start circling the shop. Or he could just find a tree and watch.
Now, she had told you that she had business to attend to elsewhere in the city, but for the remainder of the day, she does not leave the shop and it does not reopen. And that's where we'll leave it for this week. You all have a suspicious bookseller that you've unearthed, thanks to violent rabbits. That's a fun sentence to say.
Yeah, that is a thing you just said.
All right, so I'm going to go dark for a minute while I set up a straw poll and add up some experience points. First experience points of the campaign.
Hey!
We got through the first encounter and nobody died.
Is that a first?
No.
I mean,
but-
Nodal isn't in this game.
I mean, I used... These rabbits just had crocodile stat blocks. They were just the rabbit-shaped crocodiles. That's what you were fighting.
Jesus.
So I'm going to set up a straw poll and go dark. You guys can all discuss who you'd like to award books to. I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Who's the most creative today?
I feel like Victor was a pretty smooth operator the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Victor did do a good job maneuvering the bookseller.
Yep. Who for the party's goals the most today?
I mean, you did take a rabbit to the leg.
I guess Evie's the one who pinned Tenny down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figuring out what the kid was actually up to was important.
Okay.
Badass was
who's a badass today?
we're gonna go with Edmont for taking the first damage of the campaign.
Yeah, he took a rabbit to the leg.
That's a pretty big hit for the first hit.
He
Called
used
a
to
We
be an
Are
adventurer
Wolves.
like us. Then he took a rabbit to the leg.
Ugh,
Well, we are 3rd level.
Yeah, I was
my
just saying,
soul escaping from my body.
we are 3rd level, but that's the
We
kind
just
of
have
creature
terrible stats.
Brick Road would make us
And
fight at level
finally, Intangibles goes to Genie because one of I've noticed that one of Brick Road's favorite tools in his toolbox is Petulant Child versus Treble.
Oh, I was going to say Jeannie for putting her head down the hole.
1. Your child does come up an awful lot. I don't know how to deal with children.
Brick Road loves twisting that knife every single time.
Actually, I know exactly how to deal with children. The fact I don't know how to deal with children played by Brick Road.
No one knows how to deal with anything played by Brick Road.
It's like
True.
Petulant Child played by Petulant Man.
Oh, and for the new players, remember to look over your alignment, your ideals, and your flaws, and come up with a reason why you did each of those this session.
Yeah.
Oh, just so everybody knows, I have just so you know what at any given time what infusable items I have. I currently have the Bag of Holding, which will probably never become uninfused.
Mm-hmm.
The Goggles of Night, the enhanced Arcane Focus, and enhanced in the +1 weapon. Figured that'd be a good safe thing to get for now. Although with 2 rogues in the party, I'm probably going to switch enhanced weapon out for that for turning.
Oh, that'd be nice.
All right, who wants some experience points?
I do.
We all do.
I mean, if you're giving them out anyway.
Everybody sees where to put experience points on that character sheet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so for 3 rabbit-shaped crocodiles, you are each getting 60 experience points.
Sure.
And who wants to make a case for some blips?
I've only got one.
Edmont.
I have actually no, I don't, because I was looking at the bond and I was like, oh yeah, that's what I've got. Except no, we don't do bond.
If you want to think some more, I can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Genie.
Chaotic neutral. When in doubt, go with your gut for sticking my head down the hole.
It's more like going with your head, isn't it?
My ideal. What would Nigel do for being extremely excited at the prospect of adventure and doing a happy dance?
You did do the happy dance.
And I'm gonna take a swing on the flaw. Don't worry about it. It was just a setback for killing the rabbits and then trying to smooth it over with replacement rabbits.
Was that a setback?
It might permanently damage my standing with my 10-year-old sister. Should be fine though. Like I said, take a swing.
I don't know if it's actually a setback, though.
Yeah. Like I said, that was just a swing. Roll how you will.
Okay.
Just like I said, I'm still not 100% sure about that one. Might have to think some more on it as things play out. And then the video from last week for session 0.
And the video. All right, who else has blips for me?
I can go.
Evie?
All right. So, alignment, you mess with my family, you mess with me. When she thought that something was wrong with her younger sister, she immediately took action. Her ideal, a chess master must always move her pieces to the position of greatest advantage for just decided to like cut through the knot, and we're just gonna see what Tenny is doing at night. We're not gonna beat around the bush. We're just gonna go confront her. And then finally, her flaw, I am a genius, oh no, for thinking she did a great job procuring supplies for the building, but she rolled a fork. And now Ruby's probably, Ruby didn't say anything, but we know she's mad.
I've just got one.
All right, Edmund, what you got?
Got my ideal lawful, I got my alignment lawful neutral. Take everything you can, give nothing back. For 3 stomps is 3 stomps is a signal to cheese it.
For
Victor?
For Victor, I guess with the. Oh, you still going?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We
We can hear the bork.
Okay.
My headphones dropped out.
The Bork's on my end.
All right, so with Victor, neutral, Ian's justify the mean. So the whole, we're going to kill the rabbits, but then we're not going to tell Ruby anything about that because we don't want to get Danny in trouble. Keep everything where it's at. And then with the ideals of seeking the truth no matter the cost. So this whole asking around about, this person and finding the bookseller and confronting the bookseller to kind of find out what's going on there, see if there's anything weird going on.
Okay.
Sorry about that. My headphones dropped out, so I didn't hear any response to that.
Did your ears fall off too?
Yeah, I guess.
Ah.
Yeah, my headphones dropped out, so I couldn't hear anything.
Is that it for Victor?
I can think of right now, yeah.
And what does Ekon have for me?
I've got my alignment, lawful good. The shining words of air lay down a path for us all. For deciding that the most appropriate action to take after discovering this tunnel was to file the proper paperwork to lawfully own it.
All right.
And I've got my flaws. I'm always caught up in a good story for trying to get all the information out of the old woman, even though he already knew she was lying about this so-called estate.
Okay.
She was 30, not old.
Oh, sorry.
But I guess
Older
you
than
are
all of you.
15. I guess she's 15. You're 15, so like she's ancient. She's like dead.
Yeah, we're in Final Fantasy logic over here.
I think you guys literally are. I don't think any of you, like the oldest is what, 22 or something?
Like, Sid Garland from 14, like, he's like in his 30s.
He's like dead. He's like 3 years from retirement.
Yeah.
So who had the most creative solution to a problem this session?
That was Victor for just being on his toes for a lot of stuff.
For maneuvering the several NPCs.
And who did the most to further the party's goals?
That was Evie for getting getting Tenny to tell us about the rabbits.
I changed the layout of my blip spreadsheet. Now it's slightly harder to use, and I'm regretting setting it up this way. Okay. Who's the badass?
Edmund for taking a rabbit to the leg.
First damage of the campaign.
Crocodile skinned rabbit.
I mean,
be honest.
So this would have been an appropriate encounter for first level characters, but y'all were third level characters, so
No, totally valid.
I'm not intangible.
You ate half of my hit points, Brickroad.
Only half.
Yeah.
The first level character, I think that would have very likely
Just killed
knocked
him.
someone out.
Yeah.
Probably not kill, but knocked out.
For intangibles, we're giving that to Treble because one of your favorite toolboxes now, Brickroad, and that I just can't like something. One of the tools in your toolbox that you just love to use nowadays seems to be Petulant Child versus Treble, and it kills me every time.
Was Kevin petulant?
A little bit.
He got there.
I don't know.
Maybe a little bit.
I haven't actually heard that full campaign.
Kevin just decided he wanted to be a knight, and Treble wasn't a knight.
I saw his character sheet. It said Eldritch Knight right there.
Oh, I stand corrected.
The entire purpose of the
think I've-
last campaign is a lie.
I think I've ranted about that. Maybe not on a D&D stream. I know I've ranted about it during like a Final Fantasy stream. How I kind of dislike using titles like that in class names for exactly that reason. Because I'm a knight, but I'm not really a knight.
Not
Yeah,
landed
it's like-
gentry.
Like Monk also has kind of that same problem,
Yeah.
where there's no central bureaucracy of rangers who's going to second guess you. Like Aragorn's not going to send out his ranger hit squad for you.
Actually, if you were playing in Middle Earth, he kind of would.
So, Edmont is taking down 2 blips. Evie is taking 4.
I will absolutely bank those.
Genie is taking 4. Victor is taking 3. And Ekon is taking 3, including our straw poll for the week.
Oh,
So you
thank
can either bank those to use in the next session when you need them. It's 2 blips for a reroll on anything you roll. It's 4 blips to give yourself or somebody else an automatic success. 6 blips to cause an opponent to fail a roll. Or 6 blips to recharge a class feature, like a spell slot or key points.
Or action.
Like, do I now? If that's for edge case for me. Is that like 1 key point, or is that every key point?
You can't spend more than 1 key point at a time, can you?
No.
Yeah,
it
the
depends on. It
spellcasting
depends on. Yeah, it depends on what kind of actions. Because I do have some spell casting available to me, and then I can like bonus action key point dodge or
I
something
would
like
say
that.
you can spend 6 blips to recharge as many key points as you need to do the thing you want to do this round.
Right.
And I
Okay.
could also
Sounds
apply
good.
that to sorcery points. I forget what the Battlemaster ones are called.
Oh, the superiority die.
Blips are also worth 60 experience points right now. If you cash them in, you can gain experience points.
Oh wait, what's our bait? What's the starting EXP on a 3rd level character?
900.
So we have 960 right now.
Yeah, you're at 900. You got to go to 1800 to get to level 4. No, I'm sorry. You have to go to 2700 to get to level 4, which is a total of 1800 experience. 1/30th of that is 60, which is what each blip is worth. I mathed. Look at me.
Congratulations on your math.
All right, so you guys have a house you can't live in because it's partially dilapidated, and mysterious tunnels, including sarcophagus, and a bratty
Empty
sister
sarcophagus.
and or cousin who doesn't like you anymore, and a suspicious bookseller. That's enough plot hooks for now.
Yeah, that works.
But we all do agree it's cultists, right?
Oh, absolutely.